This episode of Nuff Said is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. To get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
It's Mozz! It's Jazz! We really want to be a country. Open the next line. It's Mozz! It's Jazz! And we really want to be a friend. Welcome back to the AKA JonesCast.
You know, I actually do the jazz hands at the end of that song.
Yes, well, you should. As I hope our listeners do as well. Tonight's episode, Season 3, Episode 3, AKA I Have No Spleen, in which we ask the question, what is the sound of one spleen spleening? Okay. That's a little thing from us. He loves to...
I do.
Itching to get back out on the streets and find her attacker, Jessica defies her doctor's advice. Jerry reconnects with her college flame, Kath. Our director tonight is Anton Cropper. Brian Michael Bendis and Michael Gatos gets our Marvel Created By credits. Of course, our staff writer this week is Jesse Harris. Lording it over poor old Jesse is our story editing team of Jay Holtman and Jamie King. Lisa Randolph is getting our created by or written by credit, and Melissa Rosenberg, of course, has that created by credit. They're doing it backwards, so of course we forget that Jesse Harris is, of course, our hardest working woman in show business again. Okay, so this episode we're dealing with Jessica dealing with the trauma of being de-spleed. And it's an interesting aspect of this because, first off, her doctor is wonderful. I think we can all agree that.
Yes.
As he explains to you that you can have a normal, healthy life even without a spleen. And, you know, it is, I gotta say, I don't quite know how I feel about Jessica in this. I get that I'm nobody's victim and I am not going to allow myself to be slowed down by this. But, you know, she isn't bulletproof, you know?
And there doesn't seem to be, you know, a life hanging in the balance. So you can chill out for a second.
Yeah, she could heal and regroup. I mean, I get the idea that she wants to get back out there. You know, she wants to do this. But it also does seem like she is just so afraid of being the victim again. And granted, I understand that, you know, she has dealt with being the victim in the past. You know, she doesn't like to feel powerless, especially because she is so powerful, you know.
And for years, she was essentially a mind-controlled robot, you know?
Well, exactly, and that's the thing. It's like all this stuff reminding her that for all of her powers, she is still human, you know? She's not invulnerable. She's not immune to pain. And she sees the little bracelet that says "I have no spleen." Her new medical alert bracelet, which I don't know if that's what they would say on the medical alert bracelet. I could be wrong, but you know, it just seems a little oddly on the nose. But you know, whatever. I have no spleen. And
which was kind of an interesting way to present that idea, because for a good little while I was questioning. I was like, was she born without a spleen and that bracelet has always been there, or did she just get her spleen removed right now? Because it seems like an advanced step to take to have like a fancy silvery bracelet that says that, as opposed to just have it on your chart.
Well, yeah, but they have the medical alert bracelets. I guess they're suggesting that, you know, part of what they do in the hospital is they issue that to you. Because, you know, she's been out for a couple of days, and I'm sure that it is a pretty standard procedure, you know. They might even, they probably have a little, like a penny press machine where they just press out the bracelets that say, you know, I have no spleen, you know.
Yeah, and it might be good for, like, a nurse who's just starting her shift who doesn't know the patient to be aware of, you know.
Well, and they also, and probably, they want people to have these kinds of things. When you're a medical professional, especially when you're dealing with someone like Jessica Jones, who probably isn't going to be following medical advice, to make sure that when she falls down, there's something for the paramedics to know. Oh, she has no spleen. Um, and I do question that because I have looked up where the spleen is and where she got stabbed, and I do wonder about it if that really would have taken out her spleen. But we're gonna go along with the story on this. She has had her spleenectomy. She is despleened, which is what she now has to deal with. That's her life now. But she's
The,
also
the interesting thing that popped up there for me was when she says, your liver does pretty much the same thing,
yeah.
which poses an interesting question. She drinks so much because her liver processes the alcohol too quickly. Now that it's burdened by the extra weight of the work that the spleen would normally do, perhaps she will find her way to being a bit more buzzed.
That may in fact be the case. Although I think the fact that she also probably lost like 4 pints of blood,
Huh.
also is not helping.
No.
That's the thing. Is like and honestly, I don't know if she's going to be able to regrow that spleen. That's the thing. It's
Oh
like
no, I don't think that's how that works.
you know what? I don't know. She has healing. She has a healing factor. Let's not forget. We saw her mom was like tore up from the thing, and yet eventually got herself completely repaired. And I think the same thing can be said to have happened for Jessica after the accident. Yes, she was less injured, but her body was able to repair itself. So I think there is definitely a quality to this, which is that they are that she may heal from it. She may get her spleen back.
That would be cool.
I'm not going to write that off that she just will never have a spleen again because why not regrow your spleen? I mean, what's gonna stop it? That's kind of the thing. Now as we're doing with this, we do see that she thinks that the person who came after her is the person whose attack with Patsy, yeah, that she thwarted, and she's just, I need to give me a name and I'll track him down, yada yada yada. Meanwhile, of course, she can barely stand, and we see that the first time she tries to stand, and the doctor says, "You are a fall risk." You can't just stand up. That's not how these things work. You know. Um, but it is, you know, that I think is the defining quality of this is Jessica pressing herself away from what she should be doing, and honestly, for what it's worth, people enabling her. Um, even Acosta when she's coming to, and he gets up, or Eddie Costa, and she like kicks him in the chest, knocking him back in the chair. You know, yeah, and it's like, come on, I'm trying to do right by you here.
Yeah, but that's Jessica too. She can't accept a nice thing from anybody, or
Yeah,
maybe one or two people. But other than that, she's like, don't get too close to me. Get away from me.
and he's saying, I'm here to take your statement, and just the fact that yeah, you know, you're the victim of the crime, and he's like, just because my name's on that file doesn't mean I'm a victim. But I kind of just want to say, yes, actually, that is the definition of being a
That's
victim.
exactly what it means.
You know, a crime was committed against you, but again, everyone is just going to, it's sort of like, and I think this is also to her detriment there, that everyone is kind of, saying, well, you have superpowers, so we can just let you get away with it. And it's like, well, maybe we shouldn't, maybe that isn't the way we should be with her. Maybe we should say, you know what, this is, you are not invulnerable, and maybe we need to hold this back. And I think we see the same when she does get out of the hospital and she runs into Malcolm, and Malcolm has stolen the knife, which, is evidence, should have been given to the cops, and he says, oh, I had a guy run prints on it. There's no prints on it. It's like, okay, but that's still evidence. And what is Jessica going to do with it?
Right.
And what is hurt by having the cops have it? Because you can say this was, this is the nut that, because Costa gives her the file, he says, here's everything we have on it. We haven't found the knife yet, and it's like all you're doing is making it harder for the cops to do their job, and even in its own way to have Jessica do her job.
But I think in truth it was more a gesture. He wants to be friends with her again. And especially being that he is deeply questioning what he is doing right now and whether that's a true expression of who he wants to be.
Mm-hmm.
And the last bastion of self-sacrifice and trying to do the right thing for people is Jessica. So maybe he's looking for the piece of himself that existed when he was with her.
Yeah. And of course, speaking of Malcolm, we do have his little scene with his girlfriend and her butt.
Right, which that's interesting because, in my opinion, I think that woman is a plant by Jerry Hogarth to keep tabs on him.
Oh, you do? So you don't buy that she's into him?
Oh, she might well be, but I think she is also there because it seems too convenient. And he seems to, I mean, he is very sly and good at his job, but he does seem like a good person, and that makes you a little bit vulnerable to people that seem to be good people.
Yeah. Well, about how good of a person he really is always the question, and that's where we have him peeing blood aspect of it, and you see like he's got the safety belt, bruises on his body,
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't actually normally pee blood, so I do think that's a big deal. And he's like, no, I looked it up online, it's fine. And it's like, first off, again, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. But she's willing to trust him on this. I don't think she's a plant. I think
she might not be.
I think this is very much a relationship that they have. In fact, I think Jerry even makes a comment about being a power couple in this episode and about how she frowns on the idea.
But that's what Jerry would say to maintain the illusion.
Mm-hmm.
She's very smart, she's, so I think she's always in control, even when it looks like she's not.
Yes. And of course, to that end.
Except for that scene with her friend.
Yeah.
Which was beautiful. Unbelievably beautiful to me.
You mean with her old girlfriend?
With her lady. Yes. That was one of my favorite scenes in this episode. Because, first of all, kudos, what a beautifully filmed scene. And as far as Hogarth as an actress, my God, that scene was so dripping with sensuality and anticipation.
Are you talking about the restaurant scene?
No. The scene where she comes to play the cello for
Oh,
her.
yes.
God, that was such a perfectly filmed and directed scene. It was beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's very sexy, but but then again, like I said, I also liked the restaurant scene because there is this quality to it of it's this idea of Jerry trying to get into heaven somehow kind of thing. Like I have to make amends, and you're the one that got away.
Oh, I don't. Well,
I mean, I'm using heaven metaphorically. I don't think she actually thinks she's getting into heaven, but it's like
right.
She has to do the thing that she should have done years ago. But at the same time, to me, it's again, I feel like Jerry is putting this person as an object.
Right. I don't think it's about redemption at all. It's about one last scratching, pawing attempt at possessing something that she was upset that she lost. Much, like people chasing after that statue. To her, it's the same thing. And the beautiful part about all of this to me is that she was the one being played the whole time, which is so unbelievably gratifying to watch this woman and for Hogarth to play that little game. Oh, I have your tape. Oh, oops, the tape got ruined.
Oh,
she never had the tape. This was just all a ploy to get this woman into bed, and she played it perfectly, and her friend played it perfectly too. And right when you get to the end, when Hogarth feels like she's winning, oh my God, she says, no, we have an open relationship. He's probably out screwing some grad student, and we're okay with that. I'm never going to leave him. And then she gets up and she walks out, leaving her in a puddle of her own ineptitude or her own lack of control of things. And it's, oh my God, it must have been so gratifying for that woman to get up and walk out. Oh, it was so beautiful. And the way she comes in too, playing coy, and then she like hikes up her skirt as she puts the cello down.
Well, I think you got to do that with the cello. Got to put it between.
Yeah, but there was more to it than that. She said, because she mentioned when you put the cello between your naked legs, and then she gives her just a little bit of hint of nostalgia and says, "Come get it," and she does. But really, she was coming to get it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that is, and I think that is the quality here that we're working with, and that, of course, this is why, Malcolm goes in and puts on the spyware on the guy's computer, accidentally gets caught by the professor, but pawns it off. Although, it is interesting how they present that. But what I liked about that also scene is that you have to look at it like this is basically what Hogarth did to her. Hogarth left her for Wendy for whatever reason that she did that. And that's why I also kind of feel like she's this woman isn't the lost love of her life. This was just the girl that she had before Wendy, and her relationship with Wendy went bad. And again, because she cheated on her the same way that she cheated on this, and it's like, even if she was with this woman, basically it's like, well, I only have so long left, so I probably can stay loyal to you for the amount of time I have left.
Yeah, and what's funny is her true colors show at the end when not only has she succeeded in sleeping with this woman, but now she's out to destroy her. She's like, "That's not enough. Dig deeper, Malcolm."
Yeah.
And she has this hurt and vengeful look on her face, which is really sort of her motivation.
Yeah,
It has nothing to do with.
I don't think she's trying to destroy her. I think she's trying to destroy her husband.
Well, yeah, but by extension, like this is something that's important to this woman, so it's obviously going to wreck her world if she destroys the man.
Yes. Well, but then she can come in and swoop up and pick up the pieces.
Right, but that's what people like that do.
Yeah, exactly. Because again, it's all just an object to behold.
Mm-hmm.
Much like this statue, and much like what's his name, Brent, who beat the heck out of his sister just to get this piece of artwork.
Yeah, that's a really wild and I mean they could I don't know, that could have been told a little better.
Well, I think the idea is that this guy is a nefarious person, and it's kind of he did this because he's a nefarious person, and that's he is a sociopath, and that's how he is. And not for nothing, we don't know what kind of person his sister is. We just know his sister got beaten up. We don't know we don't know that she's not a sociopath too. That's always the thing. It's like it's very easy when you just see the aggressor to never think that, well, maybe the victim was also an awful person. Not that that makes them deserving of it, but it's just to make this idea that there are no innocent people. And I think that's something we see in that very first episode of the season with the couple. That yes, the father's definitely in the wrong and is aggressive and is not someone that you should trust. But then obviously the mother is a psycho lady too. It's like there are no heroes here. There are no good people. We have Trish using her superpower of fame to actually help track down this missing art piece, and we do see.
Well, track down is a taking liberty. She stole the information from passed out Jessica and was very opportunistic and scavenger-like about it.
Yes, well,
which I guess is part of tracking down, but still.
Well, but
I don't feel like I want to give her too much credit.
Isn't going to get you in the door. What gets you in the door is that she's Patsy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and as they said earlier, with the person that she beat up and who settles out of court for like $50,000 instead of $500,000, it's like the image of you is you have money and you're someone that operates outside of the rules, and so I think that in that way Patsy could get access to it in a way that that Trish couldn't, or not Trish, but that Jessica couldn't. Although we do get Jessica breaking in and accessing, getting the thing and giving it to Trish and all that kind of stuff, and then going to track the guy down.
Yeah, this is the thing I liked about this whole scene was how Jessica finally gains a little bit of respect for her.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, okay, maybe you can handle this. When she sees her somersault over the table and accomplish the task that she was there to do of finding the information on the computer and gets back into her chair without the guy noticing, she's like, oh, look at this. Maybe she's not the helpless person I thought she was.
Yeah.
And it sort of like does a whole lot to repair their relationship a little bit.
Well, yeah, it's still going to be a long ways, and it's still a lot more. But they're starting to get to that point where they can have that grudging respect.
Yeah.
Jessica can see that this is someone she can lean on.
Yeah.
That they are friends, and that there is work to be done.
That was a nice moment, even though she punched her in the mouth.
Yeah.
Even though, but still, it was almost like she respected her enough to punch her in the mouth, in a sense.
Well, yeah,
that was kind of cool too.
What she's saying is one thing I've learned now is no one is invulnerable.
Right, and she respects her enough to be able to take a punch.
Exactly.
I thought that was really cool.
So she does confront Grant, and of course Grant, no idea, and basically just thinks that the supers are out to get him. He's been hiding out. It's like, why would I send someone to stab you? You people all have bulletproof skin, Which, probably is that kind of assumption of people. It's like, aren't you bulletproof, Spoiler, she's not, but, and once she realizes that, she's like back to that dead end, and she winds up getting back with what I believe his name is Peter. Is that his name?
I don't remember. I'm just going to call him Burger Dude.
Burger Dude, yeah. Oh, by the way, so we had a whole conversation about the burger last week. I am not backing off of my original statement that a burger's entire point is that the grinding of the meat, removes any purpose of what kind of cut of meat it is. That basically what it is that if you're grinding a good cut of meat, that means it's pre-marbled, which means you don't have to do as much to it. But here's what I'm going to say. The thing of it is that because you're grinding it, you're actually no longer using the natural texture of the meat and the fact that it is marbled. So there's a certain amount of fat that's going to come off the meat, a certain fat that's going to be absorbed into the meat. And once you've ground it, you've kind of undone that. But the big thing that you do get an advantage of in using better cuts of meat is you might get less gristle.
Huh.
Now, I'm going to put a caveat on that because personally, I love gristle. I think gristle is the most flavorful part of a piece of steak. A lot of people don't like it because you got to really chew it. But when you're grinding it, it just gets mixed in with the fat and the meat. And so you don't notice it as much until you get that little bit of bone or that little bit of gristle that's pretty hard. And that can take you out of the experience. And so in that sense, if you're using really cheap meat that's very gristly meat, yes, you're going to have a lower quality burger. But my take on it is not so much that the cut of the meat is okay, but just making sure it's a decent cut. It's decent meat without a lot of gristle, and you're going to be able to get to where you want to be. And again, like I would say, your biggest thing about that is that you're taking what is already tender meat or good meat, and you're just grinding it, and you're taking away all the qualities of that made it a good. That made the brisket good meat.
Yeah, what I'll say is, obviously it would be a better use of that cut of meat to cook it as, as it is.
Exactly.
No, for sure, without a doubt. But I think the thing is, there's something to be said for grotesque opulence. To say, I'm going to make a burger so frivolously luxurious that I'm going to take something wonderful and destroy it to make something not as good, but it's going to be better than what the other version of it would be. So in that dynamic, it's sort of like unnecessary, and in that, it is the draw of it, I think.
But like I said, to me, that's like making beef jerky out of filet mignon.
Yeah,
it's like once you've made it into jerky, the fact that it used to be a filet doesn't really affect it anymore. And also, and this is just another weird aspect of it, and this goes to, that just because it's a certain cut of meat, or
Hmm.
even from a certain kind of cow, doesn't mean that that was actually a good cut of meat.
Hmm.
So it's like, if you can have you can have gristly brisket. You can have meat that was that has old bone, that has all kinds of things that makes it a lower quality, a lower grade of meat, but it's still from that part of the cow. Um, so again, in this case, we are saying this is a high quality meat. He's grinding up, he's making it, he is curating it, as you say. And I'm not going to deny that it was probably a much better burger than the frozen patty, the mass produced patty that she was likely eating before that. But that I mean that's all. But I will give that, yes, when you come to questions of gristle, bone, and other qualities of meat like that, you are going to find yourself where, yes, certain cuts of meat could be better for making a burger than other cuts of meat. It's just whether or not that specific thing is going to make it better. But anyway,
Yeah.
as they're there and they're having this moment, and suddenly Jessica has a revelation that the guy wasn't there to stab her, the guy was there to stab Burger Guy.
Right.
And
But then why stab her at all?
because he was just waiting for the person to come out.
Oh, so he
Um,
didn't realize that she would answer her own door.
yeah, I mean, there's actually some problems with that in and of itself. I think that maybe doesn't 100% work. But in the way that we're looking at it, it does appear that the guy definitely was trying to. The guy was there to get Burger Guy, not Jessica. And I think I think it's stuff that I have watched ahead. That you can argue why this all works out, but as it plays out in that moment, I think it's strongly shown in this moment that this is what she realizes. She realizes that the guy was there for Burger, not for her, and now she has to figure out who wants to kill you.
Yeah, no, and it's also, it makes me think that having not watched ahead, it makes me think that maybe this is the mania taking over Jessica's mind. Now that one target is removed, she has to find a new target to dump this emotion onto, and he was there, and it's like, it's your fault. And when it
Yeah.
turns out not to be him, she'll find somebody else to blame. It's your fault.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I gotta think that there is actually a strong argument that she is probably right. Not just because I've already seen it, but I think that it would take away from her as a detective. You know, basically,
Yeah.
she got pulled into, in her delirium after getting her spleen removed. She got pulled into this delirium of, okay, it must have been the person that I attacked. That basically seeing that I must have been the target because I was the victim.
Right.
And what she sees now is, as she breaks it down, she realizes that this person came to the door when she was with this guy. And again, this is also an interesting point. This was actually something that Burger Guy says. It defeats the purpose of a deadbolt when you have a glass window in the door. That it's like, the whole point of the deadbolt is that someone can't break down your door. But the fact of the matter is, if you have a glass window, they just have to break the window. And then that goes, yeah.
Yeah, and how often across these seasons has that door been damaged?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, because people are always
Every
going through
season.
that window. That is the case of it. Yeah, yeah. So and she picks up Burger Guy and makes him do that thing. I do think that works out nicely, and I do think that there is, and I think that what it is she's remembering that when the guy stabbed her, he was shocked that it was her, that he was planning on stabbing the guy. He reacted as soon as he came out, and that's what led to her getting stabbed, and then the guy ran because he realized he stabbed the wrong person, and you know that this wasn't what he wanted. So, and that is the rest of the mystery that we're going to be unraveling for the rest of the season. Okay, any final thoughts on tonight's episode, Maz?
No, I've been sort of angry at Trish this whole time, but like watching them reconcile a little bit kind of made me soften up a little bit. I'm excited to see them tag team a case.
Yeah. Well, I think that I think that we're going to see Trish grow, and I think we're going to see Jessica grow. But at the same time, I think we're also going to see a lot of the problems that plague every kind of superhero drama. That especially when someone, nothing is more dangerous than believing yourself righteous.
Indeed.
And when we think about Pilgrim in the Last Punisher season, about how that sense of righteousness blinded him to the actions he was taking. And I think that sometimes that plagues all superheroes, where they just believe. And again, this is something we see this episode with Jessica, where she is so certain of who the criminal must have been, it blinds her to the reality of what was right in front of her. So, I think that is what we're going to be exploring, and it's going to be a fun ride. It's going to be a fun ride. Okay. In the meantime, Mozz, if people would like to talk jerky or hamburgers or Jessica Jones with you, Mozz, how can they find you?
Oh, if they want to get my secret pepper spice blend that I make, they can email me at mozzmanzor@gmail.com or find me on Facebook under Mozz Manzor. That's MOZZMANZOOR.
And of course, you can always write to me that old-fashioned email way the way our Mozz and Paz once did at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. Of course, follow me on Twitter as I live tweet Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when I can, and Cloak and Dagger when it's back, and the Orville when it comes back too, at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEssar. Look for the two E's in the middle.
For quality. Ding.
There you go. All right. Thank you, cats and kittens, for joining us once again for the AKA Jones cast. Join us again next week, because me and Maz just really want to be your friends. Good night.